Welcome back. You're watching PSM News in English, and now we'll continue with the local news updates. The government of Maldives contracts Malé Water and Storage Company Private Limited MWSC to establish water supply facilities in Rasdu in Alif Alif Atoll and storage facilities in Toddu in Alif Alif Atoll. The agreement was signed by Minister of Environment and Energy Tariq Ibrahim and Managing Director of MWSC Fazul Rashid. The establishment of water supply facilities in Rasdu will cost over $1.8 million and the project will be funded from the state budget. As part of the project, which should be completed within a period of 1 year, MWSC will establish a reverse osmosis plant in Rasdu. Meanwhile, as part of the agreement to establish storage facilities in Toddu, MWSC will be conducting surveying and designing of the project. Speaking at the ceremony, the Environment Minister said the two projects are conducted as part of the efforts of the government to establish safe water and storage facilities in all inhabited islands. The Minister urged for the cooperation of public and council for the projects, adding the projects will benefit the community. Meanwhile, Managing Director Fazul Rashid said MWSC has previously concluded projects successfully, noted both projects will be conducted under the Corporate Social Responsibility (CSR) policy of the company. The government has established storage facilities in 89 islands in the past 4 years. Buyers and sellers of Chinese antique and artworks are worried as the trade frictions between China and the US has also affected the art market.
September is peak season for art auctions, but this year the threat of tariffs is drawing a real concern. For example, for a 900-year-old Chinese porcelain whose hammer price is $38 million, buyers may have to pay more. The US has proposed duties as high as 25% on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. On the last page of the targeted list are Chinese paintings and drawings, original sculptures and antiques more than 100 years old, which means Chinese art coming from anywhere in the world to the US could face extra duties. One of the world's largest brokers of art, Sotheby's, has stated its opposition. CEO of Sotheby's Asia, Kevin Ching, said Sotheby's, as a matter of principle, opposes any measures that restrict the free flow of art in the market. In response to the Trump administration's policies, dozens of US companies, including art companies, voiced their concern during 6 days of public hearings. The decision left museums, collectors, curators and dealers up in arms.
This would actually change the decision of the dealers in the United States who might decide that, oh, because of the tariff, well, why should we sell in America? You know, we'll sell elsewhere. They might consign the goods to Paris, to London, and to Hong Kong. Now, that would actually damage the U.S. market.
Last year, $7.1 billion worth of Chinese art and antiques were sold at auctions across the world, and $408 million came from the US. Some said the tariffs on Chinese art will only be a drop in the bucket. But for China's rising avant-garde artists, the tariffs could be limiting. Meanwhile, co-founder and CEO of L Asia Limited Paul Dong said for Chinese artists, America remains the destination for them to climb on higher startup on their career, but the increase on the tax will absolutely affect their plans.
Individually, for each Chinese avant-garde artists in their middle age or younger artists, they still tend to look to New York City, Los Angeles, some of the American cities to promote themselves and publicize and also marketize their concept and their artworks. And this increase in the tax will absolutely affect their plans.
Details on how the tariffs will work are fuzzy. With the peak season for auctions coming, many buyers eyeing Chinese paintings and antiques may have second thoughts.
The International Criminal Court, ICC, rules it has jurisdiction over alleged deportations of Rohingya people from Myanmar to Bangladesh as possible crime against humanity.
The decision at the Hague-based court paves the way for prosecutor Fatou Bensouda to further examine whether there is sufficient evidence to file charges in the case, although she has not done so yet. Myanmar is not a member of the Hague-based court, but Bangladesh is, and the cross-border nature of deportation was sufficient to establish jurisdiction.
It decided that the court could exercise jurisdiction on the alleged deportation of the Rohingya from Myanmar to Bangladesh as at least one element of the crime of deportation, which is the crossing of the border to Bangladesh, took place in the territory of Bangladesh.
An independent United Nations fact-finding mission in August concluded that Myanmar's military last year carried out mass killings and gang rapes of Muslim Rohingya with genocidal intent, ruling the commander-in-chief and 5 generals should be prosecuted for orchestrating the gravest crimes under law. About 700,000 Rohingya fled the crackdown and most are now living in refugee camps in Bangladesh. Myanmar has denied committing atrocities against the Rohingya, saying its military carried out justifiable actions against militants. It has so far signaled it does not intend to cooperate with the International Court.
World champions France never hit top form and had third-choice keeper Alphonse Areola to thank for a 0-0 draw against Germany in the inaugural Nations League game, their first appearance since lifting the World Cup.
On a rainy night, Germany won back some respect with a battling performance after their shock World Cup group stage exit in Russia, their earliest in 80 years in the tournament. Manager Joachim Löw breathed a sigh of relief, knowing a slip-up against France would only have piled on more pressure. The French looked to be nursing a post-World Cup hangover, lacking their usual speed and creativity, but for the Alphonse Areola's key saves in the second half, the final scoreline would have been different in the League A Group 1 game. But France coach Didier Deschamps said it was still a good result and that the team were not yet back to peak fitness after the World Cup. The Nations League, brainchild of European football governing body UEFA, aims to boost interest in internationals which are seen by clubs and fans as disruptive to the domestic football season. To be held every 2 years, it features all 55 of Europe's national teams divided into 4 divisions, split into 4 groups, with games to be played between September and November.
The Motion Picture Academy says Star Wars producer Kathleen Kennedy and veteran actress Cicely Tyson will receive honorary awards this year, recognizing their lifetime achievements in the movie industry. Let's have a look.
Kathleen Kennedy, who will be honored with her producer husband Frank Marshall, will be the first woman to receive the Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award that is given to film producers annually for their body of work. Kennedy and Marshall co-founded Amblin Entertainment with director Steven Spielberg in 1981, producing box office hits that went on to become movie favorites including E.T., The Extraterrestrial, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jurassic Park and The Color Purple. In 2012, Kennedy became president of Lucasfilm, reviving the Star Wars space saga and producing new hits Star Wars The Force Awakens, Star Wars The Last Jedi and Rogue One, a Star Wars story. New York-born Tyson is one of the most respected African-American actresses in show business, appearing in films, plays and television, including recent roles in The Help and The Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Tyson will be awarded an honorary Oscar. Argentinian musician Lalo Schifrin, the composer of movie scores like Dirty Harry, will also receive an honorary Oscar for lifetime achievement along with publicist Marvin Levy, who has worked with Spielberg for more than 40 years. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, which organizes the annual Oscars, said in a statement, The honorary awards would be presented at a gala dinner in Los Angeles in November.
With that, we conclude the news for this bulletin. Thanks for joining us and have a pleasant day ahead. Bye-bye.